resurrection of Jesus. This is the account of Jesus' crucifixion, death recorded in Mark chapter 15, verse 21 through 41. Jesus was taken to a place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull, for his crucifixion. This is where all crucifixions took place, and it was just outside the city walls. Crucifixion was used on the worst criminals, and it was a very torturous form of execution. According to Jewish scriptures, those who died by crucifixion were under God's curse. It was common to make the criminals carry the cross beams of their cross to Golgotha. Most criminals would have been able to do this without any help. The fact that Jesus needed assistance from Simon of Cyrene tells us how weak he must have been, both physically and emotionally. The soldiers offered him a drink to relieve his pain, but he did not take it. Romans crucified people publicly as an example to others. Many people would have watched the crucifixion and shouted insults at the criminals. On top of the cross, there would have been a sign outlining the crimes committed. On top of Jesus' cross, it said, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews." He was crucified at 9 a.m. between two thieves. The crowd, including religious leaders, laughed at Jesus' weakness and made fun of him. They shouted, "He saved others, but cannot save himself." At this moment, we see Jesus as a suffering servant, alone and rejected by all. This was prophesied by Isaiah. He was put to death for the sins of our people, Isaiah chapter 53:8. Mark recorded some unusual events which occurred during the crucifixion of Jesus. Darkness descended on the whole region, even though it was the middle of the day. In Jewish scripture, darkness is symbolized as a tragedy. Jesus then cried out, my God, why have thou forsaken me?" People thought he was calling for Elijah, who it was believed would help those in need. Many have reflected on why Jesus said this. Did he feel abandoned by his Father? Jesus cried out with a loud shout and then died at 3 o'clock. It seems strange that Jesus had the strength to cry out when he was mere seconds from death. This might have been the reason for the Roman centurions thinking he was the Son of God. After Jesus' death, there was an earthquake. People rose from the dead. This was a symbol of those who believed and trusted in Jesus would be brought forgiveness and a new life. The curtain hanging in the Holy of Holies, the place in the temple where God was present, was torn in two from top to bottom. The curtain torn from the top, suggesting that it was torn by God as a symbol that the way to him was open. The barrier of God had been removed through the sacrifice of Jesus. Jesus died at Calvary.